Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR today. It's Wednesday morning. It's November 3rd, 2021. The man they call Meathead and the Gentleman Squire, Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew. The M.O.T.S.
Hey, good morning, Meathead. I think this is the first time that I've talked to you actively in the month of November.
Of 2021.
Of 2021, yeah. We've talked in November's past, but this is the first show we've done in November of 2021. I mean, that's a big deal.
We forgot to sign off and say, we'll see you next month on Friday.
Oh, that would have been great.
I had a friend that I used to work with that absolutely despised those type of send-offs.
Yeah, you wait until our New Year's Eve show. I
was around him. I think I want to say I was around him in 2009. I'll see you next decade.
I tell you, man, only if you could have been around him in 1999, huh?
I'll see you next century.
Yeah. The little things.
The little things it is. All right, Matthew, very quickly but precisely, tell us who sponsors us.
That would be the clothing manufacturer known as Collar and Elbow Brand, available exclusively at collarandelbowbrand.com. A promo code of Linda K, LINDAKAY, gets you 10% off. And I was on that website just yesterday, and I believe there is some new Waffle House related paraphernalia.
I saw that. What was it? Smothered? What was the phrase?
Smothered, covered, and brothered.
Yes.
I haven't seen the last one on the menu. Not quite sure what that includes in the hash brown order there. But, I mean, I imagine it's a reference to the Good Brothers. And knowing that you have pretty much the Good Brothers' entire collection at your home in your wardrobe, I think that's something you gotta add to that.
See, but I'm not a Waffle House guy. I've been to the Waffle House, but I'm waiting for the White Castle gear.
Yeah, I mean, I do respect your loyalty there.
Yeah, I mean, again, me personally, you know me. The Good Brothers is as close as it gets to having somebody else's name on my clothing. Yeah, I mean, you know this.
That's very true. That's very true.
Right. Let's talk a little bit of wrestling action. First off, not really a ton of news, but we wanted to talk and we wanted to touch on this. Matthew, did you watch the Dark Side of the Ring season finale last week?
I did. Last Dark Side of the Ring for a little while. So I think it was a good note to end the season on, the fact that it was inside information into something that, you might have had peripheral information about. But thankfully, it was void of the normal tragedy that is in a Dark Side of the Ring episode.
It was void of gotcha journalism.
Yes. And so I tell you what, but speaking of journalism, a lot of professional wrestling journalists on there, your buddy the Melts and also Wade Keller, a little bit
Wade Keller, a face I haven't seen in forever.
A little disappointed that we didn't get a phone. You know what? Maybe that was one of those calls that I got that just went straight to a voicemail that I assumed was about like an extended warranty or something.
I must have used the Google call screen on that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then the text didn't come up properly, and they just never called back. Yeah. I mean, not all of us get calls for reality TV shows or reality series, casting. Not everybody gets those.
It happens sometimes.
All right, more impressive. Vince McMahon's neck brace at the beginning of the trial, or Linda McMahon's circa 1980s, 90s haircut.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you throw back to that era that you were in, a lot of people assuming that the neck brace was done for sympathy. I guess Vince had recently had neck surgery done and, was using this time off air to not have to wear that on TV, or so the story goes. Well,
here's kind of my overall feelings on this, right? This was, again, I feel that the Dark Side of the Ring folks on Vice TV really do approach it from a non-biased opinion. Okay. They seem to be, honestly, it feels to me that it's not biased. It feels like it's coming from just a journalistic approach. It's not pro WWE, and it's not just railing against WWE. The moral of the story was that Jerry McDevitt, he was the ringside doctor, right? The one that works for WWF for all those years. No, Jerry McDevitt was the attorney. I apologize. And then George Zahorian was the doctor.
Yes, McDevitt, who you saw interviewed a lot during this show, this episode, and then the other guy you mentioned who was talked about a lot.
Well, Jerry McDevitt was the one who won the case for the WWE, right? And honestly, to me, it seemed like, to quote the Wolf of Wall Street, seemed what they called a grenada, because all it was, and again, I have no ill will against Phil Mushnick, right? All it seemed was just a government that was attempting to use a big name like the WWF, World Wrestling Federation, and use them as a a guinea pig. Say, hey, you know what? We're going to make steroids illegal now. We need a big name to take it all down. Let's go after Vince McMahon and the WWF. And they just kind of like, the prosecutors from LA for the Goldman family, they just bungled this case from step one.
Yeah. And what kind of reminded me of, and I was a little Matthew at this point, and don't really remember the trial, but about 10 years later, would have been 10 years, 10-ish or so years later. Seeing McGuire and Sosa up on, before
Rafi Palmeiro was in that case. Well, remember he did the finger wave.
Yeah, it kind of, and then Sammy Sosa, his English was not that great. When he had to testify, it kind of reminded me a little bit of that. Of course, you had cameras on that, and that was more of a spectacle because it was in front of everybody. But
can I pause you for a second there? Those three names, McGuire, Sosa, Palmeiro, talk about just contrasts in what's happened to him after that case.
Yeah.
McGuire still works in baseball. I don't know which team he's with now, but he was hitting coach for the Dodgers. He was hitting coach for the Cardinals. He's in baseball. He's working. Sammy Sosa, go ahead, folks, if you haven't, Google pictures of Sammy Sosa. Holy smokes. Sammy looks nothing like, I don't know if Sammy had the disease that Michael Jackson had where his skin, was changing colors, but Sammy Sosa looks like he's bleached his skin.
He had a brief foray into country music as well. Go check that out.
Rafi Palmeiro, gone. None of the three in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And you would think that those are Hall of Fame careers.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And that's, and then you got the whole Bonds thing in there as well, too. So it's,
and Bonds is the home run record holder. And, he's going to be Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame.
It's just it's amazing because you have such a substantially, as far as
dark period in baseball is what it is.
Yeah, but you didn't realize it at the time. At the time you thought you were going through a golden age of baseball, and you thought that you were living through history.
Cards too.
Yeah, absolutely. As an owner of Upper Deck number 1, 1989, Ken Griffey Jr. would attest. I thought so too. But my goodness, man, it's just like it's kind of like it didn't happen.
Yeah. All right. So we go back into the wrestling here. What we found out is that, if anything, Vince McMahon has been cleared, right? Not guilty. WWF, not guilty. Vince McMahon, however, due to Hulk Hogan's words, had used steroids. But at that point, when they were using steroids weren't technically illegal. Just like McGuire, when he got busted for what he was using, andro. You remember that? Everybody remembers the word andro. At that point, andro was not an illegal substance. What they found out. Go ahead.
You could go into your local GNC or vitamin shop at the time and buy the stuff.
Yeah. What they had found out was the government's whole case was based on, look, these drugs that were being handed out, we made them illegal to protect you, but then they found out there was other drugs that were doing worse that the government had documents on. They did nothing about. They bungled the whole thing. So Matthew, overall, this episode and this season of Dark Side of the Ring, feelings, thoughts?
No, I think they continue to do excellent work, and there are straight up episodes that are very hard to watch. There's some that we have skipped.
There's episodes I chose not to watch.
Yeah, and there's episodes that we've skipped, discussing, and it's just it can be a rough series, man. And like anything, once you start peeling back the layers and really getting the real story on some stuff, or different people's versions of real stories, it can be rough. I think this was the most substantial season, probably, if for no other reason, the episode on the plane ride from hell. I think that it is many seasons in many episodes as you've had. I don't think that there has been a pin pulled on a grenade and tossed into the professional wrestling industry by this show like they did with that episode.
Okay. Follow-up question, because I try to consider myself a broadcast journalist. Season 4, what topics do you want to see tackled?
Oh my goodness. What haven't they covered? That's the thing.
The purchase of WCW.
Yeah.
That's one I just made up literally off the top of my head there.
No, you're right. They haven't done that. Have
That's
they really? Have they really gone into
the rise and fall of TNA and the rise?
Yeah.
I'm just making them up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the last days of ECW, with issues with checks and whatnot. I mean, I think that would be a substantial episode. The only thing with that is, it's been chronicled, but it's been chronicled through WWE's lens. So it'd be good to see kind of an independent.
Well, then if we're going to say if one that WWE's done, give me the story on what really happened with Liz and Luger.
Yeah.
Those are just ideas, folks. Vice, I know you listen. Those are just ideas.
No, but honestly, what I like, Meathead, what I liked about this season, probably more so than any other seasons, we had episodes of people and situations I'd never heard of, and I like that. Give me more of the stuff I'm unfamiliar with.
Was this the year that we got the Japanese tour, or not Japanese, the South Korea?
Yeah, first part of the season. Yep, Collision in Korea.
And then apparently, Too Cold Scorpio going to pluck out Hawk's eye.
Oh my goodness.
Whew. I mean, that, wow. You're right. So that is Dark Side of the Ring for year 3. I'm enjoying the show. If we could do a little bit less with porn and hardcore wrestling, I'd be okay.
The opinions of the man they call Meathead is not representative of the entire PWR Today staff.
Well, I mean,
disclaimer,
Yeah.
All right, you at least got to watch the episode where New Jack's driving around his forklift.
Moving on. Let's talk a little bit about NXT last night. Matthew, we're not going to go segment by segment, match by match. Here's what we're going to do. I want to ask you your opinion. You said that you watched it live and were unable to, watch it later on delays, skip over some commercials, whatever. I watched it live as well. I will say one thing positive. They are doing something I've asked Raw and SmackDown to do for a while. Give me more segments that are not as long, featuring more talents. They're definitely doing that.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I like the start of the show. I think Mandy Rose, Toxic Attraction it's the best women's stable in the industry. And that's probably the best thing that they've got going. I think that's something they really need to bring to the forefront and push. It's very odd because, I mean, the first 3/4 of the program, nothing really on your champion, nothing really on Chiampa. You got a squash match by Braun Breaker, acknowledging that he got beat by Chiampa, but you really feel void of a major title picture of substance on that program. And it's just, I keep coming back to the fact that I don't know who this is for. I don't know what demographic they're going for. And you've got some language at times, you've got, pretty aggressive language, but at other times it feels like you're watching a children's television program.
Yep.
Not even something PG.
Like a Johnny Karate action hour.
Yeah. Not even something PG geared, like a child's television program. Right. And it's just, yeah. And I feel like this was done partially as a response to AEW and NXT on Wednesday night. And it seems like it was done in the manner that, okay, we're losing on Wednesday nights, but we're not going to compete. We're going to do something radically different and just scrap the whole thing. So, what we were putting on as competition does not exist anymore. I still feel like this whole thing has been a response to WWE instead of trying to tweak something that wasn't as successful as they wanted it to be, just burning the thing down and trying to build it from the bottom up. Style. Exactly. Now, again, Mandy, I think this is a great rejuvenation of Mandy's career. Yes. They're doing some great things there. You've got talent in Braun Breaker. You've got, interesting characters there, but it's just, had this been not that WWE necessarily has to put additional programming out there, but had this thing existed in the orbit of NXT, if this was something completely different and your black and gold NXT was still there, I don't know that the reception would be as harsh in some circles, but you got rid of what was pretty much consensually agreed upon as
Potentially
WWE's
accepted as well.
Yeah, as their top of the line. I mean, how many WrestleMania weekends was the talk that the NXT? I mean, it was almost a given that when you had a takeover, that was going to be the talked about show. That was
And
going
let's
to be the
stop right
wrestling
there.
show.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because Takeover unofficially has been announced for December. We had been talking about that here in this very program, and Takeover looks to be returning to pay-per-view, which would be on the network. Who's to say, and I don't want to go too deep into it, who's to say what Takeover looks like now with NXT 2.0?
And most likely in their same building, right? I mean, it's no talk of traveling for this, correct?
So. That can't be on the road. There's no way.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what you do. I think you'll have something, exciting with Toxic Attraction with Mandy. I don't even know what Ciampa. I mean, I'm looking at the card right now. Yeah, my interest would be in a Ciampa versus LA Knight, but my goodness, he's feuding over the guy stealing his freaking hosting gig last week.
Right. And another fan favorite, and this will be the last we kind of bring up from NXT last night, is Cameron Grimes in 3 segments spread throughout the entire 2-hour program.
Yeah.
3 segments playing poker in a room at a table that was meant for the kids' table at Thanksgiving, because there was about 8 adults at that table when it should have been 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, I feel like we are. This feels like it's going backwards for Grimes, because not just the poker segment, but you've also got the underpinning storyline of Cameron Grimes has a hard time getting a girlfriend, and it feels like I'm not intrigued by it. I think the Cameron Grimes character has been established, and in NXT, where you don't have Cameron Grimes in front of that crowd in a lot of ways, feels like a waste to me.
I got one more suggestion. Again, WWE, I know you listen to this as well. Instead of, because, I mean, not to go into Raw and how these monsters that they're trying to build haven't been on TV in a couple weeks, Bearcat League, Karrion Kross. But these guys that you're building, I think NXT should be able to float to Raw and SmackDown and be the jobbers in these crush matches. Give them a chance to come up and maybe get a big win and go back to NXT and say, I went to Raw and I beat one of their champions.
You know what I think was another missed opportunity, and of course you didn't know stuff with Joe was going to work out like it did, but if you were building up Braun Breaker to take that title off of Karrion Kross, who still held that title and was having a dominant title run, man, I think there'd be money there.
I think so too. So that is really NXT in a nutshell. Again, more segments, but not a lot of them are entertaining, Matthew.
Yeah.
Not a lot at all. Tonight on NXT, tonight on AEW Dynamite, we are going to get a very big match. It's going to be Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy. The winner takes on Bryan Danielson at the pay-per-view for a number 1 contendership, the Eliminator Tournament, semifinals tonight. Pick it.
Oh, Moxley. I think it should be Moxley. Moxley, Bryan.
How does Orange? All right, so we both agree. How does Orange win this?
How does he win it? Unless he wins it, if there's somebody else in the deck of cards we're not thinking about that comes out to feud with Moxley, interferes in the match, costs Moxley the match. I think that's the only believable
not a return
way.
From Trent, one of the best friends.
No, it doesn't feel. That'd be entertaining, but
by the way, that was amazing last year when Trent's mom brought them both back.
Yeah, no,
and then the finger out the window.
Absolutely, because here Moxley doesn't go over. Say Orange Cassidy wins, you've got a lot of fans who are already picturing Moxley and Danielson at the pay-per-view. So you've got to give them a heck of a consolation.
Got to give the people what they want. See how I brought it all together?
Yeah, you did.
Matthew Thomas, that is a crisp and clean 20 minutes. So tomorrow we'll talk everything Dynamite. We'll get you ready for really another big weekend in wrestling. As far as Dynamite, you got Rampage, you got SmackDown. Maybe Roman Reigns will show up to SmackDown. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And I got to say, if you're not watching Impact, now is a good time to jump back in. Impact put up a pretty phenomenal show last week. They've got a lot of interesting storylines cooking.
I was about to take us home, Matthew. That's a great segue. You know who the Impact Heavyweight Champion is?
Moose.
Where can the Midwest see that man at a big independent show?
You can mosey on down to Blizzard Brawl first weekend of December and go see Moose for yourself.
That's right. Matthew, did you see the latest additions to the card?
I did. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. My goodness.
I mean, we've got ODB. Our Linda Kay is going to be a referee on the program.
That's what I saw. My goodness.
More announcements coming up Friday night from David Hero, the owner and proprietor of Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. So for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.